And without further ado, let's hop right into it. All right, coming in at the number 10 spot in my power rankings is the Indianapolis Colts. They were at the 10 spot last week. They suffered a defeat against the Los Angeles Rams, who, by the way, are a really, really good football team. We'll get to them in a second, but the Colts are still very formidable. There were some things that went down in that game. The A.D. Mitchell, it should have been a touchdown, right? And then he loses the ball as he's right about to cross the goal line. Should have been a touchdown. Instead, it is a touchback. When that happens in an NFL game, that is really, really hard to overcome. I still think the Colts are a solid football team. Daniel Jones still playing the best football of his career. They have a really capable coach in Shane Steichen, a weak division. In the AFC South, I still have them as a top 10 team, despite the loss, still penciled in at that number 10 spot. Making their debut in my power rankings is the Seattle Seahawks. They're a really solid football team. They got lots of players on the defensive side of the ball. They fly around. They make plays. They cause havoc. Year 2 for Mike McDonald. Of course, he is a defensive-minded guy, and if you can play defense, particularly in that division, the NFC West, that can set yourself up for success. Sam Darnold continues to play very competent football at the quarterback position. There was reports that he had some interest potentially in going to the Las Vegas Raiders, and Tom Brady shut it down, and instead they get Geno Smith. Well, that's a serious, serious mistake. If you're the Las Vegas Raiders, Sam Darnold is playing solid football. I think it's just time for people to understand that. He's a solid NFL quarterback. Is he a Super Bowl caliber, championship caliber NFL quarterback? No, but he's solid, and he can win some football games in this league, and he continues to prove that. He's now proving it in Seattle. They've got a good culture. They've got good young players. JSN, after the departure of DK Metcalf, is stepping up and looking like a wide receiver 1 in this league. Cooper Kupp still has some ability. They can run the football with Walker and Charbonnet. So this is a team that has a lot of talent. They're playing really, really hard for their coach, and one of the most underrated defenses in the National Football League as well. Seattle starting to look like perhaps a playoff team at this point out of the NFC West division. At number 8, I have the Green Bay Packers. Past 2 weeks have been weird for Green Bay, to say the least. Look, I thought, after the first couple of weeks, they were the best team in pro football, and then they lose an ugly game against Cleveland. Sometimes you have that kind of a game against the Browns, considering how good that defense is, but obviously that's a horrible loss. I thought they were going to come back in a big way and handle Dallas with relatively no issues on the road, and obviously it's a weird game. They don't lose the game, they don't win the game, they tie the game. I think that's something that needs to get fixed in the NFL, by the way. It's absolutely ridiculous that you're playing a pro sport and that there is a tie. This isn't soccer. There should always be a winner and a loser. That's got to be fixed. But regardless, offense was fine, right? 40 points. That Dallas defense is one of the worst in the National Football League, but that Green Bay defense is supposed to be really good. Hafley's been excellent to start the season. They were bad in this game, but in large part due to Dak Prescott. In a lot of ways, what Dak Prescott is doing right now is kind of reminding me what Joe Burrow did last year. I thought Joe Burrow, by the definition, was the most valuable player in the league last year. Obviously, he wasn't going to get it because his team missed the playoffs. Dak Prescott is looking like the most valuable player in the National Football League right now. Obviously, Allen's playing really good football as well for Buffalo, but Dak Prescott is off to the best start of his career, doing it without CeeDee Lamb, kind of a bad group of receivers, a horrible defense. Not much of a run game either. I mean, Dak Prescott has been absolutely sensational to start this season, but Green Bay, that's a game they need to win. If they're going to be serious Super Bowl contenders, they need to win that game. They did not, but still find themselves in the top 10, and really no question about that, but they have taken the step in the wrong direction here over the past couple of weeks. Yep, I warned everybody that Kansas City can still play football. Oh, Patrick Mahomes, he's still upright. Oh, Andy Reid, he's still their head coach. Oh, yeah, they're still going to win football games and make the postseason. That shouldn't shock anybody. They were able to play Baltimore, a team, obviously, a defense that is completely reeling. Felt like only a matter of time before the Chiefs' offense could figure it out. They get Xavier Worthy back. Clearly, that was a big addition for them, as that looked like a Kansas City offense from a couple of years ago when they were really kind of scoring points like crazy on basically every possession and just racking it up, and Mahomes was chucking it around the field. They looked really, really good in the game. Look out for the Kansas City Chiefs if they can stay healthy. If Mahomes is upright, they're always going to be an issue. And the people that wrote them off, just the fans, that watch the games, and the people nationally, not exactly sure what you're doing. Lots of people here in the city of Cincinnati have a lot of hate for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I completely understand that. But they're a really good football team when Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are there as the quarterback and the head coach, and that will continue to be the case. They're at number 7. Expect them to continue to win and find a way in the postseason. Coming in at number 6, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've been really bullish on the Buccaneers. I think some people probably laughed about how high I had them last week. But Tampa Bay off to a bad start. I mean, the Eagles kind of just jumped on them from the get-go. Was kind of a weird game, right? You know, I've been high on Tampa, but didn't really think there was a chance that they were going to go into or play Philly in Tampa Bay and win that game. You know, they were able to get back in the game late, give themselves an opportunity there at the end. No reason to hit the panic button if you're Tampa. Obviously, they've won some very, very close games, and I don't know if that's something you can necessarily rely on, albeit the Chiefs obviously did it last year. We will see. I still think Tampa's going to win that division. I still think they're going to be a threat in the postseason. No shame in losing to the best team in professional football. Baker Mayfield, still really, really good. Ibuka looks like the pick of the draft as well at that wide receiver position. They're going to be just fine, but had to drop them down a little bit after losing, of course, to the Philadelphia Eagles. Another team that lost this weekend as well is the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers go to New York, fly across the country. Jackson Dart, of course, has a solid game, and he looks like he can be an NFL quarterback. And candidly, they probably should have went with Dart to begin the season in New York. I'm not pressing the panic button at all. If you're the Los Angeles Chargers, play an early game across the country, right? These things happen. Herbert, he's going to be just fine. Didn't think he had a bad game by any stretch. You got to give a lot of credit to what the Giants were able to do. They played with a lot of enthusiasm, and they played like their coach was fighting for his job. He clearly was, and they played for their young quarterback and played really, really well. The Chargers are going to be just fine. They're going to be an 11-12 win team this season, but nobody goes undefeated in the NFL. That's just kind of the reality of the situation. Detroit in at number 4. Dan Campbell has the boys playing really, really hard. Some people tried to write them off after their disappointing Week 1 game against Green Bay. We said that was premature. Obviously, it was. The Bengals are going to have their work cut out for them this week against the Detroit Lions. New coordinators. It takes some time to get comfortable once again, but that run game for Detroit is really, really good. That two-headed monster of Montgomery and Gibbs is still really, really good. That offensive line, they have some new pieces in there based on what they were doing last year, but Jared Goff, with time, can flat out deliver the football to his playmakers. Amon-Ra, obviously a great player, and you're starting to see them make some defensive improvements as well. Hutchinson, having him back, obviously is huge for Detroit. They are going to be a force to reckon with as this season continues to progress. Another team that I've been really high on, obviously, is the Los Angeles Rams. They pick up a big win against the team in the Indianapolis Colts, who, of course, were undefeated going into that football game. And the Rams, Stafford, playing at an incredibly high level. He just continues to age like fine wine, to be completely honest with you. He's a really, really great quarterback. And Puka Nacua, I think you could sit there and say, especially considering what's going on with the Bengals offense and Jamar Chase, I think Jamar's still the most talented receiver in the game, but right now it looks like Puka Nacua is the best wide receiver in pro football, and when you have Devontae Adams across from him, that's a serious, serious issue for opposing teams. They've got arguably the best coach. They've got a really, really good quarterback. That defense is young. They're disciplined. They fly around. They make plays. They rush the passer. And predicted, obviously, the Rams go really, really far in the postseason. I still believe that if Stafford can be healthy, they are an incredible football team. Have them at number 3. No change here at the top with the top 2. Buffalo at that 2 position. I think New Orleans maybe gave them more of a fight than some people anticipated coming into that football game. But the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, still a machine, still an offensive juggernaut. They're going to continue to be that way. Obviously, some people with Zach Taylor and the Bengals continuing to struggle are going to say, get Joe Brady here in Cincinnati, give him an opportunity with his LSU boys. We're not quite ready to have that conversation yet here at this point, but Joe Brady certainly has been fantastic for that team. Still have some questions with Buffalo defensively, but nobody at the quarterback position really. Obviously, I showed love to Dak Prescott a little bit earlier, but nobody playing better quarterback right now than Josh Allen. He's been sensational. We'll see when they have to face some tougher opponents. They haven't really had to face any real tests here yet to this point, but Buffalo have them locked in at that 2 spot, and pretty clearly to me, the best team in the AFC here at this point. And then Philadelphia, how about them? They keep finding ways to win football games. When the run game's not there, obviously what we saw late against the Rams, winning that game and then knocking off a really, really good Tampa Bay team there as well. The Eagles are clearly the class of the NFL right now. We saw them a couple of years ago get off to this crazy hot start, and then they just lost all their momentum. They were dropping football games left and right. People were talking about job security, the head coach. Obviously, they were able to regroup and then ultimately win a Super Bowl championship last year, and they are the clear front runner to win the Super Bowl again. Not going to sit here and make that prediction here at this point, but they fly around. They make plays on defense. They get after the quarterback. Quinyon Mitchell, certainly a guy that can go out there and cover guys. I still think they might need to add another corner there for the Philadelphia Eagles. Offensively, they got weapons all over the place. Barkley, Hurts, Smith, A.J. Brown. And say what you want about Sirianni, but he continues to win football games and continues to put his team in a good spot. And if you're a football fan, it is very, very clear that the Eagles are the best team in pro football at this point. We will see when and if somebody is able to knock them off that pedestal.